This is Last Week in Games, where everything is video games, and we're going to be talking about last week's video game news. My name is Jake. We're joined by Danielle and Nick Lesepin.
Yes.
Well, before we jump into some video game news, I think we should talk about our Game On experience so far. How are you guys enjoying Game On?
You know, it's pretty good. It's
so far.
It's pretty good. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be, because last year was even smaller. But this year they've included more video games, which I like. The arcade section is awesome. It's still pretty small. It feels very small.
Yeah. Last year, they had a few pinball machines, but they actually built a legit arcade.
Yeah.
Out in the corner, which is pretty cool.
The gaming section's a lot more lively too, where they have all the TV consoles set up. Last year, we tried to sit down and play a few games, and it just wasn't being ran right. Or I think you had to collect the controllers first, then sit at a station. But this time, we just sat down, started played some JoJo's Street Fighter game, and kicked butt.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty good. It's been good. Fun. How about you?
The Nolan North panel.
Good.
Steve Bloom panel was a
they just kept going. It was perfect,
especially after the Christopher Judge panel. I was there and it was all right, but that chemistry that they brought in next, I was like, okay, this is a fun panel.
Yeah, they were very fun.
Yeah,
we had a couple these two in particular had some serious questions for them, and they're like, we can't ask that.
It's too fun.
The energy's too high right now. We can't.
Yeah, we both wanted to ask them about the what their thoughts of were on AI and how they perceive AI is going to take over or
especially
not take over because of voice actors. Yes, and they've done so many roles in, so there's a lot of their voice to sample out there.
Because we hear a lot from the writers and the actors with all the striking going on, but I haven't heard too much from official voice actors on it. Because I don't know if voice actors are part of SAG.
I don't know.
I actually have no idea.
I haven't I have friends who are voice actors, and they're all talking about it.
I don't think voice actors are part of SAG, and I think a lot of voice actors don't even have a union.
But Nolan North probably is, and Steve because
Bloom.
they've got their credentials or IMDDs.
Yeah.
I did the same thing he did.
But we couldn't really bring that up because it was just so lighthearted in there. It was. I don't know. If it wasn't the right place, we didn't want to bring it down.
Yeah, but like you were saying with the Chris Judge one was just so low energy, and they're just we love dogs and cats.
And then Nolan North drowning puppies.
Yeah, Nolan North is I want to drown some puppies. It's oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, so that's been exciting. All right, let's get into the news, shall we?
The titties?
The titties.
What we call the titties, which is tidbits of news that aren't full stories, but, they could turn into full stories.
They're worth mentioning.
Yes.
Basically. Our first titty here is EA is making ports of Jedi Survivor for the PS4 and the Xbox One, which is interesting, considering the fact that they kind of marketed this game as one of the first, quote unquote, next gen or current gen games. So I don't know. I wonder what their. I guess PS4 just has such a massive market.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because of the first year that the PlayStation and Xbox came out, we had such a lack of units that were out in the market that people have just not moved on to the next thing.
No, I couldn't get a PS5.
Yeah, and now that you can, people are I'm cool with the PS4 because everything is releasing on the PS4, or Xbox One, so we're in a weird situation where we haven't quite moved on to the next generation, but we are far enough in that we should have from the past.
Yeah, it's wild because we're past 3 years in, right? Or we're just about 3 years.
Just about 3 years, yeah.
And it still feels like we've barely hit the stride of the next gen. When I think of next gen games for the PlayStation, all I can think of that's a next gen exclusive game is Ratchet and Clank. Like, that's it, right? Returnal.
Yeah,
Returnal's another
a good
one.
Yeah,
but that's all I
like
could think.
PS5 only.
Yeah, like PS5 only, Xbox
That's not
One
The
or
Last of
Xbox
Us.
S only.
God of War came out on PS4 too.
Yeah, God of War came out on PS4.
Yeah.
Miles Morales came out on PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always had my own
Horizon.
PlayStation, but since the 5 came out, I just use his.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
like
not really
weird.
a reason.
I'm like, why am I not upgrading? I don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's
And I think
backward
that's why
forwarded
they're doing it, is because EA is realizing that there's still a market for these things, and why not? They'll get another set of influx of money coming in as soon as they do release it.
Well, and here's the other thing that's kind of interesting. It moves right into our next titty here.
Oh yeah.
So Baldur's Gate, which is doing huge numbers on PC, and it's supposed to come to console in the next month. I think it's
within
September.
the next month.
Apparently, it's not going to be coming to Xbox initially, and the reason for that is because it's having technical issues with the Xbox Series S. So that leads to the question, is the Series S holding back the next generation of games? Because EA had to make Jedi Survivor run on the Series S, which is basically making it run on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So then at that point, why not just release it on the PS4 and the Xbox One?
Right.
There's such a huge install base there. And if I have to limit myself down to the Series S.
Well, I feel like the whole pandemic thing just really screwed everything up with how people move on from generation to generation. And it's one of those things that's like...
But I think in this scenario in particular, it has little to do with the pandemic, because this is just a weird...
It's software.
It's
hardware.
It's a weird hardware decision from Xbox just to release a cheaper console. But when you really compare the specs, like, it's not that much beefier than the One X or whatever. Their naming schemes
The
are
last
Xbox
one.
Series X.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very confusing. And they made the promise when they released the Series S that everything that will be on the X will also be on the S. And the guys who are making Baldur's Gate are like, well, if that's the case, then it's not coming to your console.
At least anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys have played Baldur's Gate, but it's massive, and there's a lot of everything in that game. And they want to do split screen, and I think that's what's holding them up. On every console, there's going to be split screen so that you can sit on your couch and play with other people or online or whatever. And I think the Xbox Series S, the smaller one, is having trouble rendering two different versions of the game, two areas of the game at the same time. And it's in this situation, it's not really holding the game back or Larian back. It's just holding anybody expecting it to come to those lesser consoles back from playing the game.
Yeah.
But
because Larian's like, we don't care.
well, they released it on PC. They released it on.
They're like, note to self,
releasing it on PS5.
We'll partner with PlayStation next time. Got it. Like, we'll make more money. Whatever. I don't doubt that it will come to Xbox eventually. It's just, I don't know if they can't make it work. I think at a certain point in this generation of consoles, they're gonna have to. Xbox is gonna have to say, like, all right, not every game is going to come to the Series S anymore. You know, there's got to come that point, especially when we're getting rumors right now that the Pro versions are about to be announced, or at least announced next year, if not released next year. So if you've got a PS5 Pro out there and an Xbox Series XX, whatever they're going to call it.
XXX, yeah.
If you're having a lesser console, I don't think every game should be coming out on it.
I agree, and I think that was one of the biggest downfalls of Cyberpunk when it came out, because they had to make it available for everything, including the streaming platforms like Stadia and I want to say Ouya, but what was the other one? Stadia and the other one. And there was another one, but the what?
xCloud with Microsoft.
Yeah,
xCloud. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I think that helped.
Luna, Amazon
Luna. Yeah, I think it was on
another
that one.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that like it holds back the industry in order to do that, in order to cater to all of those people when you could have a game. And what Cyberpunk did was promise like, hey, this game is going to be something completely different, something out of the box, something that we've all wanted forever, and then it comes out and it's like, well, it's limited because we can't give all of that to everybody. Right. So, and they didn't have enough time, or they didn't have enough resources or money to actually go through with that, which now they're releasing a DLC that's coming out that is only for the newer consoles, which bodes well for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. But it gets complicated when the Series S is technically still a current gen console. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's like where it gets really complicated.
Yes.
And they promised that. But at the same time, Nintendo has done this several times in their history.
3DS, 2DS, Switch Lite.
Because they
make it simple with the naming.
Yeah. Kind of. When they released their like 3DS upgrade, they literally just called it the new 3DS.
New 3DS.
And some games could only run on the new 3DS.
That is true.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And also, even all the way back on the Nintendo 64, like you couldn't play Donkey Kong unless you got that like
also true
RAM
also true.
Upgrade.
Do you think that they could Xbox? I don't think they would, but do you think they would actually come out with an additional, power
upgrade
brick that you put onto the back of the Xbox?
I just don't know
like
how that would work.
Days,
I just don't know how. I just don't think it works like that anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like maybe for like more storage, but like
storage. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to have like a modular console. Like a PC. Yeah. yeah, exactly. You upgrade the parts as it goes along. You just have a PC. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think Microsoft was asked about like their thoughts on a Pro console.
Yes.
They were saying like their base level console, but like their original console was the Series S, and their Pro console they considered to be the X.
Really? Oh, I did not hear about that.
So their next gen is just a bad console.
Their Pro console is behind the gate, like kind of like the Nintendo. Yeah. Nintendo came out and it's like, oh yeah, this is like a PS2 but in your hand, which is cool. Like the Nintendo Switch is incredibly impressive with how much power they kind of put into a handheld device. But it was just like, you play anything now, you play The Witcher on the Switch, and it does not compare at all to any of the other ones. Like,
but if you don't have any of the other systems,
true,
it's really cool. And then being able to play The Witcher wherever you are,
that is pretty tight.
That's nice.
Yes,
it doesn't run perfectly.
It does. It's not perfect. It's 30 frames and whatnot, and it doesn't.
But sometimes that's all you need, especially for like casual gamers like myself. I would love that, because playing a big game, I get like gaming anxiety knowing that this is a game I could easily sink like 120 hours into. But if it's on my Switch, I could be in the car, at a bus stop or something. I don't know. Yeah, in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not the best place to have a Switch, Phoenix, Arizona, because we don't have like the trains. But like people in Japan, they're constantly on the train for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that would be a perfect.
You don't like drive to work, and while you're driving,
I have seen some people practically do that with their phones while driving, and it's scary. But
we'll get back.
Not me.
We'll get back to the Switch in a second, but we got another titty here. One more titty.
That was a big one.
That was a huge titty.
That was a big titty.
That was a massive titty. This one's a smaller titty. Red Dead Redemption is getting a port for the Switch and the PS4, and it's $50.
Not Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption, the first one.
game.
The OG. This reminds me a lot of the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas port that they released, and everybody hated it because it was poorly optimized. And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at least with that game, you got 3 games.
You got 3 games with that game. That's true.
With this, it's one game. It's
Yeah.
$50. It's not a remake. It's not a remaster. It's just a port. And I'm sure it's going to be a horribly made port. So
I wish it was a remaster because that game's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I recently was watching some gameplay of it just on YouTube, and I was like, oh, the colors are so flat.
Yeah.
And
Well, that
after
was
playing Red Dead Redemption 2, if you've never played the first one, then going back, it's like,
that was the thing back in PS3 era, PS3, Xbox 360 era. All the colors and everything was drab. Like I remember Infamous, gray. Everything was gray.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, everything was brown or gray, and then you
the
had
first Uncharted, green.
everything
green.
was green. Exactly. So the colors have
range.
definitely improved over the time, and
Show it off. Make people fall in love with your game again, especially when you have a massive game like Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out. I was so excited for that. I didn't have a PS3 growing up, and so when I finally did get a PS3, Red Dead Redemption was one of the first games that I played. And at the time, it was almost like 10 years old. And I was like, this is amazing. Then when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I was like so hyped for it. And hearing about this, I know it's a game I'd love to replay, but it's not going to just feel good.
right.
the other like super annoying thing about this happened with the ports of San Andreas and Vice City and 3. I think they reverted this action, but when they released them, they got rid of the older versions,
Oh yes.
like off of
Yeah,
Steam and
uh-huh.
off of PS4, because those older versions existed. So they're like, here's the new ported version, which is worse than what we
Than what
already had on
was
here.
already there. Yeah.
Blizzard did the same thing with Warcraft 3.
Dude, yes,
Yes.
exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So true.
And also with the Uncharted games too, right? Like when they did the Uncharted collection that included all 5 games.
Yes.
Can you not get the originals on PS3?
I don't know. Did they take
them
them
off the shelf?
I'd believe it.
Yeah, they got rid of the original PS4 collection.
Oh wow!
Oh.
I did not realize that. I did play through those though, and I didn't, get the remastered versions because I didn't really see a need
I
to.
did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're good. They're good. They're fun.
Yeah,
So-
at least those. I like those Uncharted remasters at least. So
And they added new gaming like achievements to like instead of just beating the game on the hardest difficulty, they added like a what do you call it? Like time trials into it.
Oh, okay.
Get through it, do certain actions. I don't know. It's
Did-
hard for me.
They
but
didn't have multiplayer in those ones, did
no,
they?
they took out a multiplayer.
See, and then they probably
And the
took out
Uncharted
multiplayer
multiplayers were really
trophies too.
good.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed the Uncharted multiplayer because it was genuinely fun.
those were good times.
Good
times. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
We got a couple events that happened last week. We had a Pokemon Presents last week. Did you guys watch the Pokemon Presents?
I did not.
I watched it at 2 times speed.
As did I. It was not great.
I don't know. Do you guys follow Pokemon at all?
Well, I've seen the memes about the new Pokemon that are being released in the upcoming DLC.
The memes? Oh, I haven't.
Like you turning into a brontosaurus.
Or the Candy Apple Pokemon.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Applin or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So they had a whole thing, and they go over everything Pokemon related. So
There's so many Pokemon things,
yes.
and I just don't care about like most of it. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's break it down. We got the Pokemon World Championship, which is happening in Japan. It's coming up soon.
I like how you have Evo for Pokemon nerds on this one.
Yeah, it is. It's Evo for Pokemon nerds. They're releasing a cute little Pixar-esque short called Path to the Peak. That looked kind of neat. It's coming to Netflix, I think, is what they said.
Path to the Pikachu.
Yes.
Right.
Should have called it.
Yes. I don't know. It looks fine. Like,
I don't remember it actually.
yeah.
I did see the Detective Pikachu. That's a game coming out on October 6th.
Yep.
That looks kind of interesting.
Is
to
it
be
voiced
fair.
by Ryan Reynolds
No,
again?
it is not. But Pikachu does have a deep voice in it.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is still like the most baffling choice for Detective Pikachu.
It should have been Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
Oh,
should
I would
should be
love
some
that.
guy that like smokes a lot of cigars or something, you know.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. Pokemon Horizons series is coming soon. It didn't say when. I imagine this is sort of the new
The new Ash, dude.
Yeah, it's the new.
Because they got rid of Ash in the animated
Ash finally
series.
did it.
He finally became champion and died.
He's dead now.
And-
He's gone.
He lived his life.
And he's no longer 10, so they
He's-
have to move on to a new 10-year-old.
He's 12 now. He's too old.
Yeah, they didn't show too much on it, but it looks, maybe it's time to get back into Pokemon animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I don't know.
I
They
don't
shot
know.
themselves in the foot with the last game, didn't they?
What?
I thought you guys said that game was real bad.
Oh, we're talking about the
Pokemon.
anime.
The
though.
animated series.
Yeah, well,
They're rebooting the animated
Oh, the
series, so
anime
Ash
se-
is no longer in it,
well, yes.
and it's going to be a whole new cast of people. So no Ash, no Misty, no Brock.
They
Yeah.
haven't been in it for.
I know,
Decades.
but
Like
still,
a regular new Pokemon
but still,
game.
I
Whole
haven't
new
been in
crew.
it in decades
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, Pokemon Go Fest is happening. Violet, Scarlet Pokemon are in the game. I don't know anyone who's still playing that, but someone is. There's a new game mode in Pokemon Unite. People liked that for a month. I don't know who's still playing that. Pokemon the card game and Pokemon Stadium 2 are coming to Nintendo Online.
See, that's kind of cool.
That is actually
is-
kind of cool.
So speaking of the anime, I guess they have like a Pokemon TCG anime also coming out.
Oh,
really? That would be interesting.
Pokemon, that's the
Like
card game.
TCG trading card game. Like a Yu-Gi-Oh, but with Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, they've got
Instead
the
of-
digital.
Instead of Pokeballs,
Is it still
it's-
going to be PG audience?
Probably.
I can't imagine Pokemon
nothing-
doing like a rated M show.
Well, they could step up to like PG-13 or E12. E12 and up.
E12,
E12.
yeah.
Now that Ash is 12, right?
yeah, it's actually going to star Ash.
Just like Hitmonlee just ripping a guy in half. Like,
Pokemon meets the boys.
that'd be awesome.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
I'd watch
But they
it.
wouldn't do that. They'd never do that. No way. No.
That's like that one, like the knockoff Pokemon, but they all had guns.
Yeah, that's coming out. Oh,
Yeah.
what is it called? Pal World, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they like you can, instead of friending the Pokemon, you hire them to like perform hits and like work in sweatshops and stuff like that. It's very weird. I can't imagine it's very good or will be very good, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
'Cause
we'll
it's
see.
just like, wow, I can't believe they're getting away with this.
There was that other knockoff Pokemon game that everyone loved.
Oh yeah, the one set in the sky. I forget what that one's called. But yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Pokemon Sleep updates. Pokemon Sleep seems kind of cool. Temtem. Yeah,
Temtem,
that
yes.
was it. That's the
Yes.
one. Yeah. Pokemon Sleep seems kind of cool though. It's like, have this app on your phone and it like tracks your sleeping. And if you sleep well, you get like more points to get more Pokemon. So it's like a game for when you're sleeping. It's kind of a neat idea.
That way, when you're
All
okay,
right.
you can continue to play even when you're not conscious.
Yeah, it's
You
like
sync it to your Apple Watch.
I bet you
I-
could.
that would
Great
be that would
feature.
be the only way to do it, right? Because I think right now the app is only like sound based. So if like you snore, then it's like, oh, you snored here, or there was a loud bang here while you were sleeping and you
Oh.
woke up. But like, I don't think it has anything to do with the smartwatches that track your heart
But maybe-
rate and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe that's one
Why
of the
do,
updates.
why do the Pokemon people need to know our vitals?
That's another thing. They know when we're
They
sleeping.
want to track that
They
when
know
we're
when
not
you're
playing the
awake.
game, we're actually sleeping and not playing another game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not fair to us people with sleep apnea, to be honest. You know what I mean? This is probably what you're talking about. The Scarlet Violet web series is coming out September 6th. I think that's the card game one, right? I'm not sure. I can't really remember. But there's a Pokemon web series coming, and it looks like
Okay.
I think it is the
The trading card game.
they're
thing?
like playing card games.
Hey, that's cool with me.
Yep. Mew.
I kind of miss Yu-Gi-Oh. We were talking about this yesterday, I
Mhm,
think,
mhm.
and it was like, man, I wish they'd bring back Dungeon Dice Monsters because that is such a cool concept for a trading card game, and you also play with dice. So cool, but they haven't done it in a long time.
It wouldn't really make sense as an actual game. Dungeon Dice Monsters. It's a little like you press the dice in and it like unfolds into a thing. I don't know.
As like a physical thing, cool. But like on like a game, like a handheld, handheld gaming sort of, or even like an AR PlayStation game. AR game, even
out of your
that would be sick.
That would be cool.
That would be.
I
sick.
really want to start seeing AR developed in every day. Like I'd wear glasses with built-in AR because that would work cool too. If you had like if they. Going back to Pokemon tracking vitals and your Apple Watch, if you're going on a walk and you see your little Pokemon walking with you and gaining points and stuff.
And that way Google can track every single,
Everything's going to become universal.
That's true.
At some
I think
point.
it's actually a good idea.
If you want my vitals, at least pay me for it. Let me enjoy it. There's got to be some sort of even exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the enemy's called Pokemon Path to the Peak.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That is the...
Yeah, the Pokemon, Path to the Peak.
Oh, okay.
Should have been Pikachu.
The short's the same as the web series?
Oh.
That's a lot.
Mew and Mewtwo are coming to Scarlet and Violet. Hooray!
And you can get it if you have Scarlet and Violet. You can get Mew, and I think the code is like My New Mew or something like that. So you just log in and sign on. And
here's my hottest of hot takes.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Arceus is 1,000 times better than Scarlet and Violet. That's my hottest of hot takes, and I stand by it, and I will forever stand by it.
Okay.
And I really hope we get an Arceus too. That's why I keep watching these Pokemon Presents, because I'm like,
waiting. When did Arceus come out?
Last year.
Oh, super
like February last year.
Yeah, it was like January, and then Scarlet Violet came out later that year. So.
What's the difference between the two? I feel like that's a really dumb question. But...
So like in Arceus or Arceus, however you pronounce it, it's more about like catching Pokemon, and you kind of like sneak up on them and like throw Pokeballs at them, and as you catch more of the Pokemon, you like fill out your Pokedex. It's kind of
it's more
mainly that without the other narrative.
It's more collector.
There's
rather
still a
than
narrative.
Battling.
Less battling.
Like there's no gyms. I think.
Yeah, there is no gyms.
It's like you're Professor Oak. Essentially, rather than you're studying Pokemon rather than battling.
It's basically a Pokemon Ubisoft game, but when you say it like that, it sounds kind of bad. But that is kind of what it is.
Climb the tower, search for the devices,
yeah,
highlight your map.
They're really like that is what it is.
Which honestly, it's sometimes just fun to just play a dumb game like that.
Yeah, it was so
familiar.
Yeah, I just lost a bunch of time to that game. I don't know. I really loved it. And then there was, of course, the DLC. Hidden Treasure of Area Zero.
I actually don't get what the DLC is, because there's Wave 1 and Wave 2.
Right.
And Wave 1, it seems like there's just more story, and Wave 2 is like a whole other game where you go to another region that's underwater and battle gym leaders underwater.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got from it. Like, I don't even know what Wave 1 is, or even...
Yeah.
It's just more Pokemon.
Yeah,
that's what it seems
like. I mean, like, what else are you going to get in Pokemon? It's like, here's some more Pokemon that you can catch, and some dudes that you can fight with those Pokemon that you catch. That's...
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's kind of it. Yeah, but that was the Pokemon Presents. It happened. It was so much fun. Had the time of my life. There was one more event last week. Devolver, the week before last, announced that they were doing this big time showcase. They're like, everyone get excited for our showcase. It's coming up next week. Check it out. And then they released their showcase, and it was a 3-minute video, and it was just a list of games that are all delayed to 2024. They're like,
yeah, this game, it's delayed. Yeah. This one that we told you about, it's also delayed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Devolver's the best. Somehow they made an announcement of delaying a game make me like them more somehow.
They're a little transparent with it.
Well, that's what you want. Yeah. We need more
presentation of launch games.
Yeah.
It could have been worse.
That's very true. That's very true. It would suck. But
yeah, that was all the events. We got a couple pieces of news here to get through before we wrap things up here, but according to VGC, Development kits for the Nintendo's next console are now with key partner studios, with a launch planned for next year.
Yeah.
So it's rumored by some pretty reliable sources, though. So it seems pretty likely that Nintendo's next console will be next year.
You think so? I think next year's a little too soon.
I mean, they're literally saying it.
Okay,
they said
that must be set in stone then.
I think like if studios have it and that like it's leaking, like I think it's pretty likely. And the Switch has been out for what, 8 years?
No,
something crazy
no,
like that.
There's no way.
2013, 2014,
6 or 7 years.
Is it?
That's
Don't age
crazy
that
to me,
fast.
man.
6 or 7 years.
If that
Yeah.
is true,
Switch release
I
date.
remember when the Switch came out, I wasn't even like ready for it
no,
to come out.
no, like
20
Nothing's gonna top
2017,
my
okay.
3DS.
2017.
Okay.
That's a long
Still
time.
a
6
long
years.
time. And that's about the lifespan of
Yeah.
a generation.
Yeah,
They have a great catalog of games.
it's true.
The system's hardware is dated. I mean, it was kind of dated when it came out, but it's even more so now. And now it's also starting to experience a little bit of like competition
I have the Steam Deck.
with the Steam Deck and other things.
Yeah, they have the Asus one. I forget what it's called, but that one's there too.
So like if Nintendo's smart, which sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, depends on the day for them. But like if they're smart, they would try to get this out pretty soon because yeah.
Well, you know what was disappointing was when they released the OLED.
Uh-huh.
It had no upgrades.
Yeah.
It was just the screen is better.
They
But
have an adjustable stand because it makes it so it doesn't like top logo.
okay,
That stand is nice.
But also they did have the Ethernet kit connection too, so that was a bonus. But I mean, as far as like upping to the next level of performance,
It wasn't like
I
a
guess.
PS4 to a PS4 Pro.
I
It-
think
exactly,
they need to make it a bit more
exactly.
ergonomic also, because when Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was like, sweet, I'm going to play this so much, and then my hands just fall asleep while I'm playing
This-
it.
yeah,
and then I got to go and dock it, and I don't have man hands, so I sure guys who are playing are struggling with
yeah.
that all the time. And at least with the 3DSs, they came out with the XL versions, and that was kind of a little bit of a solution. But it's just so
Yes.
flat and
Well,
small
yeah, let's get into that. Like, what would you like to see
in
from
the system.
the next Nintendo,
the next Nintendo.
the Super Nintendo Switch?
See, I'd want them to call it like the Switch,
The Switch.
the SWIITCH.
The Switch.
So it's the
Like the Wii, Switch.
the Switch.
Here's an opportunity. there.
That's
The Switch U, I think
oh
is.
God,
Oh,
please no.
goodness.
That's
The name
no.
for
You
it.
can't go back to
I want the screen to pop out like a sidekick. And just,
Okay.
Would it have like
I
a
don't know.
keyboard
Do you want-
underneath?
that would be cool.
Do you legit like want dual screens? I could see Nintendo
could see
doing
them
that.
doing
You know,
that.
Like,
I'm telling you, I really loved that feature with the 3DS. Like
Just flipping it up.
I'm just
flip-
flipping it up, and then I'd have that bottom screen to like write on. I'd
Yeah.
like to see the stylus usage come back
That
because
would be
it's
cool.
touch screen, but they don't just put a little slot in there to have a little
Yeah.
stylus.
That would be
'Cause
cool.
I
Or
liked
maybe
how many games implemented that feature.
the folding phones is a thing now. Maybe they'll do a folding screen.
Whoa,
So that would be kind of neat. And so instead of
that'd be
so that
wild.
there's 3 ways to play. You know, you've got your standard handheld, and then you can up the screen, and then you have a viewing or whatever you call it, and it's a bigger screen. Or you can plug it into your Switch dock, and then you have your
modular screens.
modular
There you
screens.
go.
Yeah,
it's
maybe some. I don't know. That's just
a
an idea.
Switch with more screens.
With more screens. Yeah,
Are you
more ways
listening,
to play.
Nintendo? We're throwing out fire here.
Or because you could probably get away with having a folding screen that pops out so that somebody can sit on one side of the table and you can sit on the other side and play the same game.
Yo,
That would be
that's kinda
kinda neat.
cool. That's kind of cool.
So that would make sense for the direction that they're going. with,
Nintendo's
like-
not doing that.
No,
They're
no,
not doing that.
but it's not.
But also Nintendo's weird, and they do weird things. Because I always think about it like so the GameCube came out. GameCube not very successful, fondly remembered, not successful though. Then the Wii came out.
Oh yeah,
huge success.
People love the Wii.
Not fondly remembered, but a huge success.
Because at the time, their target audience for the Wii is they just wanted everyone who doesn't play video games to be touching video games.
But
and
then,
that's why like everyone's mom and dad has a Wii somewhere in
Well,
their house.
it emphasized exercise.
but then after the
it
Wii,
was like you can move and play the game, and if you're not rotting your brain sitting in front of a TV screen all day, you're
But it was
moving
smart.
in
They
front
got
of a
video
TV
games
screen.
into almost every single household
No,
by
you're right.
making it seem not like video games.
You're right.
And I
You're
think
right.
they took that direction too, because before the Wii came out, DDR was also super hot just a few years prior. And I think that's where they took that gaming exercise element, and then we're like, well, what if we put this towards non-gamers?
Yeah. Yeah.
so we had the GameCube, not successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had the Wii,
Sorry.
Tangent.
very successful. Then we had the Wii U, not successful.
Yes.
A flop even.
Oh, I see
Then
where
we
you're
have
going.
the
Then we have the
Switch.
Switch.
Successful.
Super successful.
Hold on to your Switches, everybody.
Like what's gonna happen now? So I don't know. Like,
Well, you can say that, but then they also, alongside that whole thing, they had the 3DS, which all of them were successful, minus maybe the 2DS.
But they had all those weird inner
2DS was
models
successful.
too. They first, I call it the Robo DS, the OG, then the DS Lite.
Why do you call it the Robo?
Because it's like looks like an Autobot, like it'll transform. It's like big and bulky.
Oh, okay.
And then
okay.
it came out sleek and small. And then they came out with the 3DS, the 3DS or the DSi.
DS Lite, the DS Lite, the DSi.
That was cool because I was really into the Game Boy camera. So when the DSi came out, I was like, smash! I need that.
Purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what Nintendo does do really well is they try a new idea and they kind of don't care what anyone thinks, and then they get upset that no one liked it, and then they use that feedback though to modify the next
true.
thing that they come out with.
It's true.
well, I guess Nintendo always has they're the only company really that does something new every time they release
Yes.
a console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with PlayStation and Xbox, it's the same crap every time, but like just stronger. You know, just like
It's better. It's
you
better.
know,
Updated.
more megabytes. You know, whatever. more teraflops.
There's
man.
so many polygons in this picture.
Look at all of them. But Nintendo, it's like with the Wii, it was like a totally different thing than the Wii U. We've got this like weird controller now. The Switch, you know, it's a different thing. But I almost kind of want them to just
Stick with it.
I just want them to stick with what they're doing, but better, because they're kind of in a market now of their own.
It's true. Yeah.
Because PlayStation and Xbox are not doing what Nintendo's doing. The only one that's really doing it is the Steam Deck, and that's
Sony's kind of doing it with their new PlayStation 5
true.
Switch.
Yeah, but
PlayStation 5 Switch.
it's all streaming.
It's
though.
all, yeah, that's the issue with it. It's like
Yeah.
if you don't have a strong enough internet, then that's never gonna run, or strong enough bandwidth, it's never gonna.
I also don't get the idea of like having a handheld console for streaming. Like,
You're in your house.
what
Yeah.
you want a handheld device that you can take with you and play at the park or whatever.
Yeah, unless they connect that streaming to like 3G, 5G.
Yeah.
Cell phone
PlayStation
services.
Vita.
What I think they should have done is like how the Switch downscales everything to run on the Switch.
Yes.
Instead of the handheld mode.
Uh-huh.
I guess they could have just downscaled PS5 games and had it available digitally to run on the Cube.
Mm-hmm.
Just have like a PS5 mobile version.
That would be nice. That would be really nice.
That's what I'd want, honestly. But I don't think that's what we're getting.
They've been kind of just playing with that idea for a while. Because I remember on my PS4, I had my Vita, and I would sometimes stream it to like the Vita,
yes.
and I'd be like playing it on my bed. But
Yeah.
but something about it though, it was like not a good.
It's just like
connection or
laggy
setup.
and like
Yeah,
it
there
never
was-
worked right, and
Mhm.
just it works for
Like,
some
cool,
games,
it's a
like a
feature.
turn-based game, it works great. But like, I don't know, you're trying to play like Call of Duty, it's not gonna work. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the first thing I'd want to see from a new Switch is just replace those controllers with anything else, dude. those Joy-Cons, I hate those things.
So you'd want to go back to the Wii U?
I don't know. It can be the Joy-Cons, just make them like
Feel better?
not these flat like
At least make some
things.
they can pop in there that are bulkier.
Yeah, like some of those third-party ones are pretty decent.
I saw a third-party one that looks like it's like Switch controllers or Joy-Cons that are GameCube controllers. They're shaped like GameCube.
Oh,
I think
controllers.
that's a-
like those are really cool.
I think Nintendo actually licensed those out.
Really,
to-
that would
yeah.
be super cool to do because that was probably my favorite Nintendo controller was the GameCube
Do
controller.
they do that for the 64 too? Because one thing I didn't like about the 64 online Switch stuff is like when I go to play the game,
Oh, yeah.
the
It's pretty rough.
buttons are like this isn't
They're all over
muscle
the place.
memory is like
Yeah.
rewire all that.
It's pretty rough. I played Ocarina of Time, and it took a while for me to get used to the new button mapping.
Yeah, I hated it. I was trying to get Nick into it, and he's like,
I don't want to touch
it's
it.
like this is gross.
I don't
I'm
even
like, it's
know.
not. It's a good game. I swear.
I don't. I was playing something else at the time, and I'm like, I can't switch between these two things because they are so wildly different, but they're the similar.
Was it Elden Ring?
Like game. It was probably Elden Ring. Yeah, it's so wildly different, but similar sort of third-person game situation.
Zelda, just like Elden Ring. You heard it here
Yeah.
first, folks.
Okay. All right.
Well, it seems like as far as like stick drift,
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
That'd be
Did
huge.
they ever
Oh,
admit
man.
it's an actual problem?
I
don't think so.
I feel like for them, it's a perk. They're like, oh, these people have to buy more.
Buy more
Look, new
$80.
colors.
Yeah.
at least you get swapped out the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Yes, but
it's true.
yeah, but it's I think the technology behind those sticks is still like a graphite membrane or something, and it's so old. I think the PlayStation 1 used it, or even farther back than that.
I don't know. My PlayStation 1 controllers could take a beating.
I don't know, but it's like old technology that for some reason.
Potentiometer. That's what it is.
What is
It's
it?
a graphite potentiometer.
Potentiometer.
Well, yeah, that's what
Potentiometer.
a knob is a
Yeah.
potentiometer.
Do you think they're going to switch over to those Hall effects? Magnetic.
Oh, I'd love that.
That would be so nice.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Had those since the Dreamcast.
Magnetic what? What are they?
Instead of using a graphite potentiometer, it uses magnets around the outside, and it measures the magnetic resistance between the center neutral
Mhm.
of the stick and how far
Oh,
you
I
move it
see.
in between each of the magnets.
So
That's cool.
you'll never have stick drift
And you
with
never
that.
get stick drift. They last forever.
Yep.
And we had it on the Dreamcast, and we never had it again.
I don't think Nintendo's the one to do it. To
But it would
honest.
be nice to have like a rugged feeling Switch. Like if the Switch, I understand that it's for kids, but if there was like an adult Switch where it was heavier and it felt better to hold, because you pick up the Joy-Cons and you're like, wow, these feel like I can crush them. I wish that they had some sort of heftier controllers that felt better to
Just
hold.
give us options.
Yes, options, different shapes. That would be nice.
Do you think they'll have the SSD in this console?
Oh,
They have to.
100%.
Yeah, they have to.
100%. Do they not already have it?
If it's just a normal flash memory.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They have to.
I've never really thought about that.
It's like everyone has it now. Like that has to be the move for them, and they could fit that into a handheld pretty easily if you know.
Well, that'd be the way to do it, right?
yeah.
Well, I wonder if like they would require that you install the cartridges to the SSD, since the cartridge flash memory runs so much slower.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Huh.
That would be.
Yeah, I don't know how that would
So
work.
that, yeah. Well, then the cartridge is just a
It's just
download disc, is
it's
what it is.
It's a key.
It's a key.
Okay, last question about the Nintendo thing. Launch games. What would you like to see as a launch game?
F-Zero. F-Zero. Brand new F-Zero. I miss Wipeout. I miss F-Zero. I miss all that. MotoGP. I want a new futuristic racing game.
Okay.
What about you?
I don't think that's happening.
Shoot my dreams down. Shoot them down.
I'd like to see another Mario. I think it's like an obvious kind of one, just a new 3D Mario. But
Odyssey 2.
yeah, Odyssey 2. But I think the big one, I wonder if Metroid Prime will be sort of like the Zelda Breath of the Wild
Interesting.
of this generation, where it's kind of like it's on the Switch, but it's more of like a launch thing for the new console, where it runs like crap on the Switch, but will like actually run pretty well on the new thing. I have a feeling that's going to be a big one, and I have a feeling that's coming out next year. That's my my hot take
They could
prediction.
be holding it back, for in development for that.
Yeah.
So I could believe that.
Well, because I think it kept getting delayed. They kept restarting, and then at a certain point, they're like, well, why don't we just start focusing on the next console? Because it's been so long now.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't come out for the launch of the new Switch, that game doesn't exist. It's not coming out then. Yeah. What about you?
Daniel?
I'd love there to be another Ape Escape.
Isn't that a Sony? That's a Sony game.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about a game in general. Well, maybe we'll take up that licensing since Sony doesn't want to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Okay, another Ape Escape.
It looks like it could easily fit in with their IPs.
No, yeah, 100%. 100%. You're not wrong.
Like I said, another thing that's probably never gonna happen.
Another thing that's never gonna
3D
happen.
Donkey Kong.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes.
That won't happen, but I love it. New 2D Donkey Kong would also be pretty sweet.
Super Mario Sunshine 2.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. This is a good game.
Don't people hate that game? I love it.
Some of them.
I love it, but
Maybe a new Kid Icarus game since Uprising.
yo, just give us Uprising. Yeah. That Kid Icarus would be really cool. That'd be sick.
Yeah. Kind of reboot it.
I'd love a new IP, to be honest. Like a new big Nintendo IP. I don't know.
Splatoon.
Yeah, like a new Splatoon.
In the vein of Splatoon.
Not a new Splatoon, but a new
like the
yeah.
same kind of thing that they did with Splatoon.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Arms too.
Yeah, Arms too. Isn't there an Arms too?
Arms do.
Yeah.
Let's 1-2 switch again.
Yeah, 1, 3, 4 switch.
1, 2, 3, 4 switch.
WarioWare.
Yeah,
They are coming out with a WarioWare pretty soon, I
They
think.
are.
Or they already did.
I think they did
And
already.
it wasn't good. Right?
It was. I don't know. I
I heard
didn't
it
keep
wasn't
up with that.
Yeah, I think they released one right a while ago where it was a new one, and then they released one recently where it was like all the old WarioWare stuff.
Oh, see, that's the way to do it.
in a game.
That's the way to do it.
But I was never really a WarioWare guy, so. Okay, last piece of news here. We got one more piece of news. We got the MPD numbers for June, not July, June.
They're not released for.
Not August,
They're
June.
not released for July.
Yeah, MPD just got bought by this company. I forget what they're called. So all their numbers are like taking forever because it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, MPD numbers.
They released the top 10 selling video games of the month and the year to date. So
yeah,
it's kind of interesting to go over.
This is the top 10 selling video games for the year 2023. Number 1,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Hogwarts Legacy. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Here's an interesting thing about Nintendo games. They don't release digital sales numbers. So Zelda's probably number 1 if we were to include those digital sales numbers, but
Yeah.
they don't release their digital sales numbers. Number 3 is Diablo. Number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number 5, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 6, Resident Evil 4. Number 7, MLB The Show 23. Number 8 is Dead Island 2. I can't believe that's on there.
Wow.
Number 9, Final Fantasy 16. Number 10, Street Fighter 6. So those are the best-selling games of the year up to June.
So far, up
to June for now. These are the best-selling video games of June. Probably should have started with this one, but whatever. At number 1 is Diablo. At number 2 is Final Fantasy 16. At number 3, Street Fighter 6. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Of course.
Number 5, Hogwarts Legacy. Man, that game is selling like crazy still. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number 7, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 8, MLB The Show 23. Number 9, jumping up from number 31, it's Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, it's probably because they announced
Across the Spider-Verse.
It was.
Yeah, that's got to add some hype.
I think it's because June is when the PlayStation showcase was, and they showed the
next game,
the Spider-Man 2 stuff.
So they're like, oh, I got to get on this.
Because
Plus Across the Spider-Verse really helped that game.
Yeah,
that too.
I think both of those things happen in the same month.
Man, Sony is just really banking on that.
Jumping
Spider-Man.
up from 24 at number 10 is Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh,
So-
yeah, okay.
So both of those are
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the MPD numbers.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Like the game from the 60s.
No.
Yeah.
Spider-Man with
Number 10
That was a
last
good one.
2 months ago?
Yeah,
That's nuts.
crazy.
I'll be very curious to see what is the best-selling game of last month. I want to see where Baldur's Gate lands. I guess
Oh,
is where I'm really at.
That's definitely going to be
Yeah.
at the top, even though it was only PC. No, go for it.
Isn't Spider-Man bundled with like the premium edition of Miles Morales?
Yeah,
So I wonder
If that is included in that too,
yeah. I don't know
could
how those
be.
sales work. Yeah,
it could be.
it's true.
Yeah, it's
That,
that is a good.
Because that's a digital code.
but because that could also mean that could also be why Spider-Man is below Miles Morales because
it's only that edition.
less
Yeah.
people are
Well, I mean, even it could be because people who played Spider-Man but never bought Miles Morales are now buying Miles Morales without Spider-Man because they already.
Well,
own
my
it.
thought process was if you get Miles Morales, you're getting Spider-Man, and that doesn't count as a sell. But
that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
too,
but if you do buy Spider-Man, but less people are buying Spider-Man by itself because you might as well just get Miles Morales, I guess. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But what do I know?
All right. So Jake, what have you been playing? You want to
Oh.
talk about that at all? Before you head out, we got 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's
what have you guys been playing? Let's start.
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there. Have you guys been playing anything?
I've been playing Death Stranding.
Oh, hell yeah.
Finally getting that out of my backlog.
Yes.
Um,
How are you enjoying that?
I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's a very relaxing game, despite supposedly being a horror game.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful game. But it's not really all that challenging. I don't.
How far are you in it? Yeah.
How far am I into it? I just met Mama face
Okay.
to face, and
Okay.
and I'm working my way towards Mountain Knot City.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, you're a good chunk in there. It gets tougher though. It does.
You are past the longest chapter of the game. Are you playing the director's cut or the original?
The original.
Yeah.
Have you guys played the director's cut?
Yes.
I've dabbled.
Oh, you have?
I
Wow.
platinumed the director's cut too.
Damn.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I double platinum that game.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think about replaying that game all the time. The more I think about that game, the more I'm like, I think this might be like one of my favorite games of all time. Like it's so good, and like you said, like it's got the horror elements, but really it's kind of relaxing. Yeah, and you just sort of it's crazy taxi.
Post-apocalyptic
I get that like
postman.
Midsummer.
Yeah, it's got very similar vibes to Midsummer actually. Yeah.
And my wife and daughter and I were trying to play through Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
And each of us chose a different house.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
Nice.
Are you all playing on different like consoles or computers? Okay. Yeah. How are you enjoying that?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nice that you have like the chill moments where you're just doing like random side quests for like, I lost my, this or that.
Yeah. I actually I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy. I actually haven't watched the last movie, but
You were too sad for him.
yeah, it got really depressing towards the end because
He's
when
like,
I was
I'm not watching those.
growing up, it was like, oh, this is a perfect. Oh, the third one is my favorite. But it's like a perfect summertime movie. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to summer camp with my friends, and then each year it just gets worse and worse, and you're like, I don't want to come to summer camp anymore. All of my friends die every time I go over there.
There's a giant battle at the summer camp.
But I've played Hogwarts Legacy, and I really love all the details that they put into it from the movies, and just even walking around, it immerses you into that world really well.
Just how massive that castle is.
Yeah. And
there's details in the game too that reference to the older Harry Potter games as well, and I found that really enjoyable.
Yeah,
and there's little
Easter eggs
for every type of Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, I like just walking around, and there are little puzzles, and you'll just do a puzzle and it opens up a secret door, and you're like, oh cool, what's in here? And there's the rewards are they're okay, a cloak or
That's a good feel-good game.
But it's a very nice game to play. Yeah. They did a great job on it, despite all of the the crap that came out around it as well.
Yeah. All right, we're running out of time, and I want to talk about Baldur's Gate.
All right, Jake. This is you. Go for it.
Baldur's Gate is the best game ever. Thank you. That is the panel.
What happened to Death Stranding?
No, but for real, Baldur's Gate. Honestly, before we came to this convention, as I was driving here, I was like, this is going to be a fun convention, but I kind of wish I was just playing more Baldur's Gate this weekend instead.
It is true. It is true. This is taking up my Baldur's Gate time.
Yeah, like, it's so fun, dude. And like,
we're not even far.
I know.
We're not even far.
I mean, we're 30 hours in, but we're not that far.
Yeah, it's impressive. It is very impressive. All the small choices that change everything. Like, I found the Necronomicon and opened it, and it was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's like, you now know things that you shouldn't know, and I'm like, what does that mean? And that was it. It was like, oh no, what is happening? So there's a lot of things in the game that's just...
The thing that amazes me the most about Baldur's Gate is its writing.
Yes.
Because with a game like this where everything's branching, so like there's a million different outcomes, you would think one outcome would be like written kind of weakly, you know what I mean? But you play it and every outcome is interesting, and the through lines all work, and I don't know how they do it. It's like some sort of black magic that they've used to make it work, because it's honestly unbelievable. There was like you were playing like a druid who
the Dark Urge.
Well, you're playing a Dark Urge, but like you could talk to animals.
Oh yeah.
And we found like a dog, and he's like next to his dead owner, and you go up and talk to this dog, and this dog is like, my friend.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My friend.
My friend is
he's
hurt.
not getting
He's
up.
hurt.
He needs help, and we're like, yeah.
I don't think he's getting up.
But we're all watching this. We're all just like crying.
We're
like,
crying
no,
for this dog.
no.
Who's just like, what? It's very good. Like there's a moment where you meet a bard if you play the Dark Urge, and she's like the sweet lady, and it's like, oh, I like this character. It's written really well. And then if you play the Dark Urge, spoilers if you don't want to hear it, you go back to camp and she dies. You kill her.
Her guts
like,
are everywhere.
It's like, oh my god, I was not expecting that. And she's just, it's one of those things that's like
really fun gameplay moment that happened.
You don't even see it coming. It's just one of those.
A really fun gameplay moment that happened was we were playing, and I found these goblins who hung up these dwarves on this windmill. And
they're spinning around. And
so I scared off the goblins, and we're like, we'll get you down, dwarf. And Nick goes behind to find a lever to turn off
turn off the gears from spinning.
So he pulls a lever, and then the windmill just starts speeding up to this like ridiculous speed, and the dwarf just goes flying. And then Nick is like, "Oh, there's two levers.
Two buttons here. There's a brake stop and a brake hold." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's how it's gonna go." And you can like go the direction he flew, and you find his body, and it's like, "Oh no," it's written so well. It's very well done.
Well, that is our time. We have to wrap up. If you're interested, check us out, twitch.tv/lonercast. You can also find us on YouTube, Lonercast. We post a lot of different stuff on there. We do spoiler casts. We review all sorts of Marvel, Star Wars bullcrap. I do movie reviews in my car after I see movies. Very fun stuff. So check it out.
Is it LONER?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Lonercast.
Lonercast.
Gamecast, the podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
But I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us
Yeah.
and giving us your attention and time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Hi, Brad.